Hi there, and welcome to this week's special edition of The Eagle's Eye. I'm your host, Gracie Wilson, and today I have the absolute pleasure of sitting down with the lovely and talented Mackenzie Cook, a senior in the JDM department. Mackenzie, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Gracie.
Absolutely. So let's kind of take a step back in time before we get on to the future. Why did you decide to come to Ashland 4 years ago in the first place?
Ashland reached out to me with emails and sent some mail, and I was like, well, I'll just look at it, see what's going on. And then I ended up touring here, and then I got to meet Dave and John, and I just fell in love with the small knit community that everything was and how hands-on everything was. I toured a couple other schools, but it was more like you couldn't get into anything until your senior year. So I just knew that I'm a very hands-on person, and I think that the department just really drew me in because everything was so hands-on.
Yeah, absolutely. It truly is. I know you and I have been alongside each other a lot the last 4 years, and I'm glad you've had that experience. And in that, you've been super involved in the department during your time here. What has your experience at the TV station as your most prominent work been like?
Yeah, like you said, I am most prominent in the TV station. I have dabbled in WRDL, and I've done a couple things for the Collegian and stuff, but the TV station I think is where I found where I kind of belong, and I've kind of done a little bit of everything from cameras to just floor directing and stuff. This is actually the first time I've ever been on this side of the camera, which is really interesting, but I really think I found my niche in producing and directing with the interviews, and especially with the Election 20 show. That's where I kind of really stepped out of the box and started, taking leadership into different things in the studio.
Yeah, absolutely, and welcome to your first time in front of the camera.
Thanks.
And you just mentioned the election show being one of the highlights. Can you tell us a little bit more about your experience on the directing side of the last two election shows?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was actually my first time ever really taking a leadership role in that sense. And for the Election 20 show, we started everything from scratch, and we set up what we wanted for the graphics, who was going to be featured and everything, and we had to figure out all the camera movements and everything. And I was really in setting up the timeline of everything, when things needed to be in, when they were going to be shown, and how long every interview needed to be. And then I was keeping track during the actual show night, and when something went wrong within the first hour, I had to get us back on track, which was a little stressful, but it was actually really fun, and I learned that I actually really enjoy doing that, and I think producing in that sense is going to be something that I'll continue to want to do. And then this last year, I did the same thing, and it was almost easier because, it wasn't a 5-hour show, and it was only 2 this year, but also the fact that we already had kind of the idea of what we wanted to do. We didn't have to start from scratch, and we knew where we needed to be and everything, and everyone was so hands-on and so ready to do it, and it was just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely, and congratulations on doing that.
Thank you.
All the way through. And so outside of the department, now coming away from this, you've been involved in athletics quite a bit. How has being a student athlete kind of shaped your college experience?
Yeah, so I was on the Ashland University dance team. I danced throughout high school and everything. I actually went to a school where I could dance in school as a class. And it was always something that I have done, and it's a big part of who I am. But when I graduated high school, I didn't know that Ashland actually had a dance team until it was probably about June before going into freshman year that I discovered that, and I ended up emailing Denise Farnsworth, who is the head coach, and I was like, I don't know if this is possible, but I really just want to join, and I had to send her an audition reel and everything, and I ended up being able to join, and that was probably one of my best experiences on Ashland's campus. So with that, I was able to pursue dancing for the last 3 years. I wasn't able to be on the team this year because of the December graduation, because the season goes from September to March with basketball. But up until then, it was really awesome, even though COVID kind of made things a little awkward. But through that, I was able to actually find my faith a lot. Yeah. And there's a group on campus called Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and we meet like every Tuesday night and just worship and learn lessons and things. And that's where I really learned how to like find my faith, and I wouldn't have been able to do that had I not been on the dance team and like started Bible studies and things like that. So I think it's really, really one of the biggest things from my experience on Ashland.
Absolutely. It's lovely to hear that some good things came out of COVID for you during your time here, having thrown a wrench in so many things. So now as you approach graduation, just a few short weeks away, what does the future kind of look like for you after you leave this place?
Yeah, so I've been applying to jobs since probably October, and I've at this point applied to probably 30, 40 jobs. I'm still waiting to hear back on a lot of them. But I know that I want to be in the entertainment industry somehow. I'm actually also a double major in public relations and strategic communication. So wherever that takes me, whether I'm producing or directing or editing or even just being communications, I know that I want to be in the entertainment industry somehow.
Good. Excellent. Well, I have no doubts that you will excel there.
Thank you.
And lastly, what would you kind of say is the thing that you are going to miss most about Ashland and your experiences here?
Yeah, I think most I will miss is just how close-knit everybody is here. And the campus community is so like warm and welcoming. You really do get to meet a lot of people, and like especially within the department, like I have been in classes with every single person at least 4 or 5 times, and like you get to know people really well. And you learn how they work, and projects and things just become so much easier. And I think I'm just a people person in general, so I think being able to sit down with everybody and kind of know people is what I'm really going to miss, because everything is so warm here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mackenzie, I can only say that it's been an honor to work by your side these last few years, and I can't wait to see everything that you're going to do.
Thanks, Gracie.
Yeah. That's all for this special edition of The Eagle's Eye. Be sure to follow us all across social media at AUTV20. I'm Gracie Wilson, and we'll see you next time.